September was a crazy month, but one of the best parts of it was getting to go to the ACFW Conference, which is definitely one of the highlights of my year. I absolutely love going to the ACFW Conference. It's just so much fun. It is just such an amazing conference. I love the professionalism of this conference and how so many different writers come out to it. Writers that are advanced and have dozens and dozens of novels published and out and are best-selling authors, and then writers who are just getting started and writers that are in the middle, and it's just such a wide variety of authors. And I just love being able to go to these conferences and connect with different authors. And one of the best parts is getting books. I love getting books, and writers conferences are the perfect place to get books and then get them signed. So I went into ACFW not actually bringing too many books. I only brought like 3 or 4 books by Sarah Sundin because I knew she was going to be there. I actually put together a list ahead of time to try to figure out what authors I knew were going to be there, and then try to come up with questions to ask them to kind of start a conversation, or books to bring that I wanted them to sign. And the year before, I had brought a ton of books to ACFW, and I got them all signed. And a lot of the similar authors were going to be there, so I didn't need to bring those books again, which was great because my back hurt so much after that year at ACFW, and lugging around books is not fun, especially when you start collecting more books. So it was actually really awesome because the first night at ACFW, I had all those books by Sarah Sundin in my backpack, and I was like, if I could find her the first night and then get them signed and then not have to carry around these books for the whole conference, that would be amazing. And it worked out like that, and we ended up chatting for quite a while, and she is just such an amazing author, and she was just so sweet and encouraging, and it was just great to talk to her that night, and then we chatted a bit more a couple other times, and she was just super sweet. So I loved getting those books signed, and then I got a lot of other books at the actual conference. So my backpack was very heavy, and I ended up upgrading to a second bag as well. So I'm just over here with a backpack and a bag, and I'm just lugging around tons and tons of books. But I love books, so it was a worthy sacrifice. At ACFW, outside of the main conference room where we had all our meals and keynote sessions, they had 2 tables set up. One was Bethany House's table, where it shared different books that were new releases, and you could flip through books and just see the new releases. And then the other one was for Love Inspired, and their books were for free. So they just had piles of books that said, just take books. And so I grabbed like one on the first way through, and then I passed it again, and I grabbed another because they were just taking forever, and then I just accumulated books. So I got The Garden Girls. This cover just drew me in right from the start. It's a really cool cover, and I really love FBI stories, and I'm always down for a cool like murder mystery story. And then I also picked up The Summer of Keeping Secrets, because this had another cool cover. I don't know, I judge books by their covers, okay? I will be honest, I judge books by their covers, and this one had a cool cover that really drew me in, and so I got both of those books that looked really cool. And then they always have their littler books, so we had a couple of these, and I collected a lot of these last year, so now I have a whole bookshelf dedicated to them, and I haven't read any of them, but I will someday when I need a book. So I grabbed a couple of these, and they are large print, but I don't really care if they're books. Someday I'm just gonna knock out like reading like 20 of these, and I'm gonna read them all in like a month. That month has not come yet. And then as the conference came to a close, I was at the right place at the right time. Again, this happened last year, and it was amazing, and it happened this year, and it was just wonderful. So at the end of the conference before the gala, they have to tear down the tables, and so Bethany House doesn't take the books home, so they're just giving them away. And so I got a couple of the new releases, which was always exciting. So I got Sarah Sundin's new novel, which I have seen around social media a lot, and I've been wanting to get it, and so I got another of her books, and then I had her sign it right after, which was fun. And then I got Angel Hunt's new novel, and I know it's the second book in a series, so I guess I'll have to get the first one at some point, but I'm always down for trying a new biblical fiction author, so I was excited to grab that book. Rachel Hawk released a new book this year, and I got her book Best Summer of Our Lives last year under the same circumstances with the Bethany House table, and I read it in a day, and it was like one of the best books I read of the summer. So I got her new book, and then I read this in September, and it was a really cool book. And then after that, I also got a book by Kimberly Woodhouse, mostly because I just wanted her to sign a book for me because I didn't have any new books by her, and she is just the sweetest. And I do really want to read one of her books that's not like a cyber mystery thriller. Even though that is coming up, I'm reading her next book pretty soon because it looks really cool. So I got this book by Kimberly as well. And then I also got Amanda Cox books last year, He Should Have Told the Bees. And I love that book. It was just so well done and really, really interesting. So I saw that she had a book up, and I grabbed her book and then had her sign it. And I'm very much looking forward to reading this because her last book was really cool. They also just so happened to be doing book signings right when I was walking around collecting books. And Tosca Lee was the keynote speaker, and she also happened happened to be there doing book signings, and so I went over and I got some of her books and had her sign my books right then. It was a really slow moment. I think a lot of people were in different sessions. I was supposed to be in a session. I totally miscalculated when things were, and so I totally missed the session that I should have been at, that I didn't have to miss because I didn't have pitch appointments going on. It was fine. I ended up collecting books, which was totally worth it, and talking to different authors who were at the book signing. So I went over and I got Tosca's book. I have heard so much about these books just from social media. I actually happen to have one on my Goodreads TBR, which was kind of funny because I totally did not realize that until later on. And then she had talked a lot about her books and the stories behind them and how her life had really impacted those books as she was doing her keynote talks. And so it really got me excited about her books. And it was really hard to decide which ones to get. I ended up getting Demon because it just seems like a really cool book. I don't know, it just drew me in, just how she was talking about it and sharing about it. It just seemed like a really cool story, and so I really want to read this book. I also really wanted to get her book Hava, but I didn't. And I'm going to get it someday or convince my library to get it for me because it looks really cool. And then I also got, this is the book that was on my Goodreads TBR, The Long March Home. And so I had Tosca sign both of those books for me, and it was just really neat to chat with her a bit about them, and I am really looking forward to diving into those. And so these were all the books that I got at ACFW. It is a lot of books. It was a lot to carry around for a day. That was an interesting experience, and it was not exactly fun, but it was totally worth it because I got all these books out of it. And so it was just such an awesome experience at ACFW, getting to meet all these authors and get to connect. I love bringing the books because it's just such a fun conversation starter, and authors are so excited to sign their books, and I love having signed books. I don't really know why. It's just fun to have books that are signed and to kind of have that little connection there with the author. So I am looking forward to diving into this whole stack of books, and hopefully I will be able to get through some of them this year. I need to actually read them because I got them and now I have to read them. It'll be fun. I like reading, so it should not be a problem whatsoever. So if you're interested in hearing more about these books as I read them, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel as I share different reading recommendations and reviews as I finish books every month. And these books are going to get read eventually, so make sure to subscribe and let me know what books that you are reading lately. I would love to chat more about books in the comments with you. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.